Jaden currently a large favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Commanders will take on the Giants this weekend. Meanwhile, Caleb's heading to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Here's the odds as they stand now.
Huge favorite.
Jaden, Caleb, and Bo. I'm going to do the math there. Yeah. It's
minus 400. You bet $100 on Jaden right now, you win 25. You bet $100 on Caleb, you win 650.
But Bo is closer to taking over second than Caleb is to taking over first.
Bo is
sure.
doing his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. That's
that is the. I don't want to explain this right now. You are correct and also wrong.
Good, stop.
Okay, go ahead.
Add me in the first.
Bo could finish ahead of Caleb.
Okay, let's not talk about Bo. We just talked about
Bo Nix heading to Baltimore.
What's the question?
Jaden, to widen the Rookie of the Year gap.
No, I think it narrows considerably this weekend. So my answer is twofold. One is I think this is a tough spot for Jaden from a narrative standpoint because I think people are like, the Giants stink, because they do. But you know the one thing they're good at, and we can show it to you, getting to the opposing quarterback. And so listen, Jaden's still listed on the injury report. He's still dealing with those ribs. So I think Dan Quinn and company and Cliff Kingsbury are trying to protect him, run the damn ball, and he's not going to have a big game. Flip side to that is the Chicago defense secondary is so banged up. I think Arizona is going to be able to move the ball, so Caleb's going to have to get in a duel. You know what I think this is a game where you're going to have to score at least 28 to win. So I could see Caleb having a big statistical game, Jaden having not as big of a statistical game, and I think the gap shrinks a bit.
I think it widens, and I hear what you're saying, Nick, but Jaden's numbers aren't like overwhelming. He's averaging about, I know he got injured the one game, so that hurts his numbers, but it's like less than 220 yards passing a game. 7 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Right.
That's good, but it's only 7 passing touchdowns. He's run for 4. With him, so much of it is this dude has changed the trajectory of what has been recently a woe-begone franchise.
Right.
Like,
in
this would be
moments.
the first time, first time in 5 years.
The pass against the Bengals, was it on national TV? Obviously, the Hail Mary.
Absolutely. So your logic makes sense, but I do think Jaden's going to win this weekend. I think there's a good chance the Bears lose. And so that obviously would widen it more. But I think Jaden just right now is better. Like, we'll see how their careers play out. But right now, he's so much smoother. Like, when he's playing, everything looks easy. He does not look anything like a rookie at all. When Caleb's cooking, he's cooking, but it doesn't look as smooth. It looks harder. It looks like he's laboring a little more.
That storyline's coming down the tracks.
What?
Jaden number 1?
Oh, that storyline's already
but
been
it won't.
discussed.
It's not.
Head to Baltimore Sunday at 1, where we'll see how this statistically good defense of Denver matches up against the best offense in the league. Lamar missed 2 practices this week, but he did practice today. He's not going full speed right there.
That's also known as the cavalry.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that.
Here's the numbers on the Ravens. First in basically everything. Look at passing yards per game. Do we have passer rating up there? He's super high in that, too. Brew? Are you at all...
Before Brew answers the question, I gotta say something. I don't think Lamar's back and knee kept him out of practice. I watched that whole game. He was never hurt. And they don't practice.
He's a tough
before
guy. He doesn't show pain. He gets colds once a season.
I think he's sick. I think
He's like a medium who casts a spell.
Okay.
He's so good on Sunday, it drains all of his energy.
Maybe. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have the strongest immune system of the quarterbacks in the league.
Brew, are you worried about Denver's defense?
Look, Denver's tough. Denver is a good team. I mean, give credit to Sean Payton. He had to take his lumps last year, but their defense is basically top 5 in just about everything, and top 10 in rush defense. So their defense is legit. And Bo Nix has been improving last 5 games, Nick. I think he's got 8 touchdowns, just 1 interception. I think Baltimore is just a better team and going to win this game, but they certainly can't take these guys lightly. I mean, there you go. Defensively, I mean, they are legit. And I also think, Nick, and I know this could be looked at 2 ways, but Baltimore has Cincinnati and Pittsburgh coming up after this. So some might say, oh, could they be looking ahead? I think they're looking and saying, look, we're about to start real division play where we got a lot of division games coming up. We know what our division games are like. We cannot afford to let this game go.
Well,
and so they got to get this, because they're going to probably lose at least one other division game with the way it works in AFC North. So, yeah, I think they'll play well and win, but I respect Denver.
Listen, Denver's preseason projected win total is 5.5, and they're already at 5. So they've already had an excellent season. Now, it's about to get those 5 wins. One has come over a non-horrific team. They have an excellent win against Tampa, but their other wins, Jets, Vegas, New Orleans, Carolina. So I fully expect Baltimore to take care of business here. I think Brew is correct that I don't think, had they won last week, this could be like a look-ahead spot, trappish game. You'd won 6 in a row. You have those games. But they lost last week, level set. If they were to lose, it is full-blown panic time in Baltimore.
Yeah.
It will be
because they're S-Bob.
Well,
like, would you think they might not make the playoffs?
Of course.
Really?
If they, here's why though.
Yeah, I'm not going that far.
Well, let me just give the reasoning. It would be their 3rd loss as more than a touchdown favorite. They were huge favorites against the Raiders. They were huge favorites last week. They were huge. So again, I don't think they're going to lose. But if they were to lose this game, and like you said, we expect them to lose at least 1 or 2 games against the good teams they have coming the rest of the way. You can't pencil in, well, they're not going to, lose it, have another terrible loss. And so I don't think I predicted for the year that Bo Nix would be able to have some decent numbers and not necessarily be playing great quarterback. I think that's what we're seeing. So I don't think he's going to be able to exploit the weaknesses in Baltimore's defense. But if the Ravens lose this week, it is abject panic time in Baltimore.
Wow. This should be a get-right game for Baltimore's
It should be.
defense.
I hear, Nick, we know they're S-Bob, so in that regard, you might be like, oh, can this team win the Super Bowl? I definitely don't think they're in danger of missing the playoffs. And if you look at their losses, did they take Cleveland lightly? We know that's a divisional opponent, so you would think not.
It's tough.
But Cleveland obviously hasn't been playing well. The Raiders weren't it seems like they let their guard down against.
No, they do seem to play up or down, similar to Cincy, actually, to the level.
Welcome back to the show. Cowboys headed to Atlanta Sunday at 1 on Fox. Dak trying to get the W. And stop turning the ball over, Brew. 2 interceptions against the 49ers, 2 interceptions against the Lions, 2 interceptions against the Steelers, but they won that one. Here's Dak.
You're never going to knock my confidence. Some of the majority of it is decision. So, I go back and I guess a couple years ago and risk versus reward. And that's something that, just watching the film this week is just heavy on my mind. And I think from that comes, being able to, as I've said, get out of the pocket, make other plays happen. When you're weighing that risk, it's when I've got the ball in my hands, it's not just about that play. It's about the team, the game, the momentum of it, and just got to be better.
I like that quote, Brew. Also something I expect to hear from like a first-year player or like a second-year player like Bo Nix or somebody.
You mean the decision?
Like the risk versus reward. It just seemed odd. More likely for the Cowboys, A game or F game?
Well, as we know, an F game for the Cowboys is always
around the corner.
Always around the corner, right? But I'm going to surprise you guys. A game on deck.
Wow.
A game on deck. The Cowboys are absolutely desperate. And I know I've said that about the Jets, and they got it done last night, but other teams have been in this position. But the Cowboys, I think they get it done. I think they go to Atlanta. Look, they're common, but so are the Falcons. They're common. And Kirk Cousins has struggled historically against the Cowboys. His numbers are okay, but he's 2-9 against the Cowboys in his career. And here's the thing, too. The Cowboys' struggles, Nick, their embarrassing performances
are at home.
All at home. I don't know if that's pressure from Jerry. I don't know if it's too many fan tours. I don't know. But at home, they're a joke. And on the road, they're 3-1. And on the road, they scored 32 against a good Cleveland defense, especially week 1 when they think they're going to have a good season, Cleveland.
Wow.
So, then they beat Pittsburgh on the road. And last week, even though they deservedly got an F, because the third quarter was so bad, it was deservingly of an F. But the other 3 quarters, they were pretty good, right? On the road. So I say the Cowboys
Wow.
Well,
have an A game
Not Mr.
to
Consistent.
bring their
that's fine.
Because there's nuance.
Yeah,
on
and
it.
every game's its own thing.
I keep it real.
Wilds, you seem surprised.
Well,
They gonna just lose every week?
no, but I think if a team can run the ball, you can run the ball on the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
no, that's true.
And I wish I had more